Hello and welcome back to A Foreigner and Family in the Philippines. And I'm over here on a banana heart hunt. I want to see, this is going to be a banana update video. And it's also going to be a banana hunt, banana heart hunt. I want to find the new banana hearts. So this is the back area. This is where we had planted corn when I first got here. And I cut down these bananas and because they were in pretty bad shape, but there were bananas back here. It just didn't look like it was very productive, and it was in the summer. So I went ahead, cut them down, and planted the corn at the beginning of the rainy season. And I kept coming back and cutting these. I probably did kill a couple of the patches, but they came back pretty good. And only the big ones are the ones that remain. We came back through here and came with the 3x3 space, tried to fix the spacing to what I wanted for spacing, because they were kind of a little more sporadic. And so we tried for going for 3x3 spacing back here. And so the smaller ones are the ones that we planted, which are a lot. Now, only the big ones are the ones that were here. But I'm looking at the bananas, and we had the two big harvests a couple days ago, and then 2 weeks prior to that, which was for us was 26 bunches the second one, and 23 bunches the first one. So we're going to be less on bunches coming up here, and you can see there's still a lot of blue bags, which is a bunch of bananas, but you don't see a lot of the taller trees. And I'm looking for hearts, and I can come back here. Sometimes I've seen 8 or 9. I usually see 2 or 3. I don't even see one new heart right now. But there are still, you see the blue bags, so there are bunches back here to be cut. It's just the ones that we planted haven't started producing yet. And a lot of these other bunches, they had so many suckers. So desuckering is important. And I'm no banana expert. I'm a beginner, and it's just I'm sharing what I am picking up here. It's just you'll end up with, if you're not desuckering, you'll end up, and then if you look at, we've gone through here and desuckered. You just want to have one adult, one teenager, and one baby. That's ideally how you want to do it. And here we've got, like this bunch here has 3 on it, or that little banana hill has 3 bunches, and what that does is then it pumps nutrients into all 3 instead of really focusing on one. So you get 3 little bunches instead of you need to cut it down and end up getting larger bunches, more spaced out. And for that reason, and for also because then you'll have the 3 little bunches, and then you won't have any other bananas for a while, because now you've cut down all the big ones, and it's going to take a little while for them to be replaced. Now here there are 2. They're not too bad. Those actually look like pretty decent sized bunches, but here there are 2, and they're real tiny bunches. I think the first one that emerged should have bagged it, left that one, and when the second one emerged, went ahead and cut it down. So I am looking back here, and this will be my first stop. I got a couple other areas I want to check. So I'll pause her there. And so I'm just coming around the side of this little hill over here. I was in that back corner over there, and I'm just coming around to see where we had planted some newer bananas. And you can tell we're going through this area right now and weeding, so it looks really good with the weeding. I'm trying to get away from using the herbicides, because you just hear so many negative things about how they affect the soil. and the microbial life. So that's why it's taking a little extra, taking a little more time, and having some more focus on the weeding. This little guy here, that's a suspect bunchy top, but we'll keep an eye on it. It could just be one of my newer, because I went back and replaced some. I replaced some of the ones that had fallen, because you just take that rootstock and take it into areas and replant it. But then we also had so many gaps from wherever we had dumped up the bunchy tops from some of the bad suckers that we had gotten. And so we went ahead and replaced those and filled in all the gaps too. So that was good. We just did that last week. In this area over here was an area that we had planted. So this is the first area. So I wanted to come over here. We've had a couple little bunches come up. We had 3 right here in this area. Like you could tell, look how little this is. Even though it's a little bunch though, the bananas look really nice because we fertilized and have taken care of it. And the reason these come up so small is I was still learning the process for planting the suckers, and we planted those as stalks, where we left the stalk on it, so they produced quicker, but that first bunch is almost worthless on it. Whereas tissue culture, the first bunch is like the best, and they all pop out at the same time. So this is another tiny one there. But what I am happy to see is now that there are some bananas. See a blue bag over there. Some of this is the first area that we planted, and then I continue going out that way. So it's good to see that now these are flowering, because now on the banana hunt, heart hunt here, we've got a bunch right there, which is good. That's great to see. And that's a decent, it's a medium size. It's going to be a medium sized bunch. Even though this one's really small, that looks like a medium sized bunch as well. So that's good to see 2 new hearts sprouting up in a new area. That means more bananas. So I'm happy about that. And you'll see this one, these bananas, this one might even go. It helped out this teak tree though, because this is where I planted the teak along the back border, 3 rows of teak trees. So, and these bananas look really healthy on this back side. Some of them are getting pretty big. So I know I'm carrying on about the bananas, but I'm really needing these to start producing. So that's good to see. I'll pause her there and head to another area. And I'm just walking back to that other area. I happen to come across one of my silly bushes, and these little silly peppers here. They have little peppers on them. They're very hot, very spicy. I'm not a big rice eater, but I eat them once a day on at dinner to make my rice tolerable. I prefer potatoes for sure, but I was just passing by. But it's a handy little bush to have. I've got a couple of them in a couple different areas. There's another one over here. And when they're red, or even actually when they just start to darken like this, they'll still change, but you don't want to pick them when they're green. But even that dark one there, you can go ahead and pick that one, and they'll change to red. Kind of go to orange, then to red. Let me make my way over to those other bananas. And I've stopped down here at the creek bananas. Del Monte had left a couple of bananas that were next to the creek, and they did really well there. So I went ahead, And when I was while I was planting, one of the first things I did is along the creek on the edges to border it, I planted, I call them my creek bananas. So it goes down the edge here, and they are doing well. In that larger row right up there is a secondary row. I went across kind of with the creek here. I just kind of went with the landscape. Because I also planted the durian, there's one right here. It's kind of shaded over here. It's doing okay. Needs a little, maybe it looks like it needs a little more sun. But everything that's next to these patches of bamboo does really well. It gets a little of the shade. I think it cools them off a little bit. And I know the bamboo retains some moisture, and so they do really well next to the bamboo. But so I did these 2 rows across, and then they the rows go up and down up there, which I changed because I don't like how when you weed, you see how it makes the channel down, so that way when it rains, it doesn't retain, the moisture comes off of the hill, and we want it to retain as much as possible. So I should have gone across, and so I did change that method. Learning process for me. There's another durian here. Those are grafted, and they're doing okay. There are just two rows of those, and I have the creek bananas with the other row of bananas that goes down the middle of the 2 rows of the durian there. So, but these creek bananas, I stopped here. Some of them are pretty big, but yeah, some of them are still have a ways to go. So need those to start producing as well. I'm going to move along. And I'm still going along those creek banana. I just decided to play video as I'm going. Just try and go slow and keep it steady, because I know this camera is super bouncy. I will change at some point. That looks like a nice banana there. Getting a little sucker coming up. So one of the things with being close to the creek there is the issue with the bunchy top. That's a great area for the aphids. So that might not have been so smart, because then I can, even though they grow really well there, the aphids can transfer that bunchy top virus, which can cause some issues. And the durian were the farthest spacing that I have, because they're a tall tree. So I did 10 meter by 10 meter on those 2 rows. There's a volunteer mahogany, which I'll cut down at some point, but it's providing a little shade for these banana and durian there. Coming up to another patch of the bamboo. Another durian there. This is a little rougher terrain. I'm going to take it slow so it stays steady. But again, these bananas behind this bamboo here, they look great. These are a little close. They'll still be fine and produce, but you can see where they have some issues next to the on the stalk there. Whereas those right there have very healthy, more green looking stalks. But I do have the durian over here, so when these durian are large, that'll probably eliminate being in between these the bamboo and those big durian trees. It'll end up ultimately eliminating this little row of bananas. Now I'm focused on, yeah, I definitely don't want to have stuff in areas that are prone to fungus. And we've done these bags on a lot of the fruit. Most of the fruit trees have gotten some on a tree that wasn't doing so good at one point. Looks like it's doing great now. And this is something I just recently implemented. When harvesting the banana, we'll go ahead and cut that. I was cutting them off immediately and just like chopping it off right down here. But apparently when you cut it and leave it for a couple of weeks before you do that, the nutrients that are in the banana stalk will actually return down to the root at the bottom and then go back into another plant. So it's already converted energy that just needs to be transferred to a more useful place. So rather than just cut that off, and then we'll cut that off, and I want to keep them at least 1 meter away from the banana bunches in order to reduce fungus and pest issues, because when you lift up those stalks, when they start rotting, you'll find all kinds of little insects, and I don't want to have them too close to the bananas. And you'll notice this little patch here, it's a mess. I've come through here and desuckered this. This is some of those that were left by Del Monte. So, but we're in the process of getting those desuckered and down to where it's just the adult, teenager, and baby banana plant. Again, another durian there, looking good. Or at least hanging tough at least. And it's true with the aphids. These here, I've had some issues where I've had to dig up quite a few bunchy tops. So I may have to do something about that at some point, about these maybe these creek bananas, if it is too much of a problem with breeding aphids and then giving them a food source right there. I'm gonna go ahead and pause her there. And I actually just came up the creek bananas just a couple more steps and paused it, stopped it here or went ahead and started recording again just to show we've got this little area next to the bamboo. On the other side, that's my bunchy top. You can see it through the bamboo there. That's my little bunchy top burn area, so I can get rid of that infected material. And this is where the carabao kind of hang out here. They got shade. They got a little mud bath. I'm surprised she is not hanging out in it right now. It's kind of fun. She's a great mom, and she has a little carabao. But we have another female carabao, and sometimes the little boy carabao likes to hang out with the other one. It's kind of funny. It's like the adopted mom as well. It kind of goes back and forth there. So, and then back down those creek bananas, and they kind of go up this way along some of those bamboo over there. So, but we've gone quite a ways there. No new heart. I really wanted to see some new hearts on these creek bananas, but not quite yet. The ones that we planted, the Del Monte ones, have the bunches, but yeah, there weren't new hearts. Not a good sign, but they're coming. And this is the only area that we have the giant Saba bananas. And this one here that was cut just in our last harvest there, we went ahead and harvested a bunch of Saba from here, and it was 30 kilos. It was they're big heavy bunches. They're less per kilo, but they're also resistant to more of the banana diseases. So it's something we may look into, planting some more Saba. There's another one there. That one is looking like probably a 40-kilo bunch. There, that's a big one. And on the other side there are two. And with the Saba, you want to have a couple more. You don't want just the adult teenager baby. They take a little bit longer to produce, and you actually want 4 or 5 stalks per cluster. And this is a little over these two hills. They're kind of two hills there, but there's a little more. And I've gone through and had just wiped some out, so I may need to eliminate a couple of more. Another durian there. And I'm just coming up the hill from, there was the bamboo where the carabao hang out with my bunchy top burn pile, and those are the Sapa bananas there. But this was a new planting that we had recently done, and it has a lot of bunchy tops. Like this one here is a bunchy top, which means the other one looks okay, but I'll still eliminate both of them because they're part of the same root system, and that'll show up later on. But these were planted from sucker, and there were a lot of bunchy tops. We tried to avoid that. We actually dug these up, so I know that my guys focused on it, but just that area had a lot of bunchy tops. So we'll be having to take care of these, keep an eye on them, and get those up quickly. And then I won't replant them for several months. So when we did our banana fill-ins in areas, we came back and stopped at this point, so that way all the bunchies that we had dug up, it gives the virus a chance to break down, have the microorganisms work on them, and so that way we don't replant it and end up with that again. And fortunately, you can do that with the bunchy top, but that fusarium wilt, the TR4 fungus, is once that's in the soil, you wouldn't even replant there. But I'm going to keep on moving. Got to find some hearts here. And so I know I showed these bananas just recently on the video that I made with the bananas that we did the harvest, and had that little set. I showed the setup area and talked about our last 2 harvests. But these are the tissue cultures, and you can tell they come up at the same. They're all the same height. They'll start producing like at the same time. They'll all have hearts on them. That'll be a big deal. That's that 3x3 spacing. But just a comparison between planting from sucker and planting from tissue culture. If you have the option, go tissue culture for sure. It might be cost a little more, but it'll actually cost less in the long run. And so yeah, that's better. Planting from the tissue. Oh, but the same thing. If sucker is your option, the suckers grow just fine. They plant just fine as well. So it's a matter of how you take care of them. And I call these the creek bananas behind the behind the little pump house we have there. So it's just, this is a short little row, and I have planted the bags, have the calamansies in them. But these creek bananas, I planted after the creek bananas. I planted on the ones I showed you, and it's just a short little over to the fence there, short distance. But these creek bananas seem to be doing even better. They get more sun, and they've got plenty of water, and they're a little lower to it, which was bad in some places. I couldn't tell where the water reached, and some of them were too close to the water, so that was an issue. But these look really good. Some of these are really big. I keep thinking, like, I was hoping right now one of these big ones would have a heart coming out of the top. And the ones right at the creek, I planted those first, and then went and planted other things. But I did come back when I planted the calamansi to give those calamansi some shade, because they were not doing so well in the nursery, and then even when I transferred them here. But they are recovering nicely. The calamansi are looking a lot better, looking good actually. Might take a look at a couple of these while I'm over here. But I do expect to see some hearts on these bananas pretty soon. Got some sort of leaf issue, but the overall looking good. Maybe a suspect bunchie over there. I'll have to take a look. I'll head over to another area now. And now I'm over here in between the rice over there and the corn over here, and there's just a short row of bananas, but it's been a heavy producer. These were left here as well, so I started taking care of them. But yeah, they're all basically harvested. I see one blue bag, maybe another one up there, but I finally found another heart, and it's not impressive. That is a little heart. But after we had planted that other area with the tissue cultures, we came over here. So these are all tissue cultures as well, and they're looking great. So that's good. Another look at this little mini heart. Well, actually I came up here to get a better look at it, but it's in the way. But it's a small one, not impressive. Probably be like a 8-kilo bunch. Again, we started with that method in order to get the nutrients back into the rootstock. And then I'll come back in 2 weeks and cut that down as low as I can. And so I'm just going across that hill that I had just showed with the tissue cultures. Still looking good, but I came to this row. We have several jackfruit trees. This is one of them. We hadn't sacked the jackfruits, and unfortunately they get ravaged by pests. And I think that has to do with just the not having them properly pruned and the airspace and having them sit on each other. So we thinned it out a little bit and then sacked a couple of them. And I've had these jackfruit. I really like these. They're very tasty jackfruit. And I have sampled several different ones since I've been here. My neighbor has one that they rave about from Thailand, and I even like this one, these better. But it's probably just one of those personal, probably you kind of like your own, maybe better. You really got to let them get ripe for them to be sweeter, and so we got these sacked up, so we'll have some good ones here. And there are so many jackfruit. Should have really the price is kind of low on jackfruit, but there's so many mature jackfruits here that I should have done that in some more areas. There are a couple. There's another little one down there, and I've kind of started pruning them a little bit, but not so much. So I'm going to keep on moving. And I'm just stopping along that hill. This is still the same hill with the tissue cultures that we had planted, except for a couple of bananas that were here. Got one here, over here. And this is good to see just the one bunch so they can focus on pumping the nutrients into that plant. And those are kind of close to being ready. If I had more hearts, I probably should see about, when I see a heart like this coming out, going ahead and cutting it down, so that way all the nutrients can pump into that one plant. But those are close to being finished, and so this one I will leave this one. But finally, another that's a medium-sized heart there, so that's good to see. Finally, another heart to replace some of those that we had harvested. So I'll keep on moving. And this is a good example of the weed ring that I left here. I just wanted to show this kind of going down. You'll see where we had just kind of placed a weed ring around the bananas in order to, one, have that breakdown. Some of these leafy weeds are high in nitrogen. We want to get some nutrients back into the banana, and I tried to leave the spacing so it's not right on the stalk there, so it's not creating an environment for fungus and other pests, but it still allow for the nutrient breakdown around the banana and some moisture retention. Because out here on the hill, it gets a little breezy and things can dry out, but fortunately we're late in the rainy season, but it's still a rainy, apparently it's a good one, so that's good. So I am back here on the opposite end of the property where we have, had some mature bananas, and then we've filled them in with I think some of the tissue cultures were here, but a lot of these are suckers going down. And I really expected to see a couple more new hearts. I mean, we had just sacked the hearts last week, but still I had been seeing some popping out, and with all this rain I really would have expected. I need to we just fertilized with the attemt, and then I am going to go to once a month on the fertilizing, which is the chicken dung. And the next fertilizer I'm going to do a 50-50 mix of the 14-14 and urea, just because we want that high nitrogen for growth. And then after that I might go 50-50 on the 14-14 and the potash, so that way we get that growth, and then we'll have that potassium for the banana hearts there. And I'm focused in on this, and I don't know, it's kind of hard. I can see it. I'm seeing underneath the durian back here, there is one heart coming. It's just poking its head out of that banana there. I'm just going to walk over here to the side. Now I showed those giant Saba. We have a couple hills down here of some what are they? Visaya Saba, which are not the giant Saba, but our new banana buyer still buys them. They're a little bit cheaper, but that's good, so they're not wasted. But I would rather have just had them be giant Sabas. The giant Sabas are a little more resistant to some things, and the price is a little higher, and they're a little bit prettier. There's a bunch of those. I don't know if you can see it. It's kind of far up. But I walked down here, risked all the bumpiness with the camera, because I just knew there would be another heart down here to show. But I don't even see just that one poking its head out of the durian. I mean, underneath the durian, but poking its head out of its banana stalk. But in 2 days, it'll be out and hanging over.